Thorny, as we venture into the R&R, two truths are consistent. We love our dear Montana state, and we love great beer. And you know who else feels the same? Jeremiah Johnson Brewing. Brewed in the heart of Montana in downtown Great Falls, Jeremiah Johnson takes Montana's finest ingredients to craft some of Montana's favorite beers. And now, Jeremiah Johnson's second tap room is open in downtown Coeur d'Alene. Their Citra IPA is probably one of my favorites. But we all know, Thorny, you're not the hop lover I am. You're more of a mountain man Scotch ale.
Well, Foley, I'm certainly not a mountain man, but you are right. I do love their Mountain Man Scotch Ale. But come game day, you and I are both cracking their Golden Bobcat Pale Ale. So when you're looking for a quality craft beer brewed with Montana roots, a relaxing tap room, or just a six-pack to take to your favorite Bobcat tailgate, Jeremiah Johnson delivers. Make your next beer a Jeremiah Johnson, and as always, go Cats.
Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right. Welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the R&R Catcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. He's your host, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the R&R Catcast, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. We have an awesome sponsor in Jeremiah Johnson brewing awesome beers in downtown Great Falls with a second tap room in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. That it's just taken off, man. Those guys are just posting a ton of stuff. They're cooking good food over there. I follow them on their socials. I'll have to go over there soon. Haven't been there in a while, but Jeremiah Johnson Brewing. If you haven't had one of their beers and you're a beer drinker, I don't know where you've been because I see Jeremiah Johnson just about everywhere right now. Thorny, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Feels good to be back on the mic with you. It's been too long, my friend.
Has been a while. Awkward pauses.
Awkward pause.
It's been a while.
Been a while. Don't even know where to go from here. We spent like 20 minutes talking about what we're going to talk about, and now we're here. Got the awkward pause. That's all right. Let's press on, man. It's a Monday night. Feels good to be recording on the couple days away from the men's Big Sky tournament. The women kicked off today, so we'll talk a little bit about that. That'll be fun.
We're going to talk about Troy Andersen as well.
Troy Andersen.
So kind of confluence of Bobcat things coming to head that allowed us to plug in our microphones again and put out an episode for the Cat fans.
And
so
gosh darn it,
that's
I missed
pretty
you.
Fun. Is that it? Is that really what it was?
The big part of it, yeah.
Buddy?
That's right.
I know. I missed you too, Thorny. We probably should talk about what we're drinking. We do that sometimes, right?
We do that from time to time. And I have a Japanese beer. I actually don't know how to pronounce this. I've had it before. It's in every single like sushi restaurant on the planet. Is it Sapporo or Sapporo? Like, I don't know how to say it.
Sapporo?
Sapporo. Sapporo. It has two O's. It's all O's except for the sa.
Oh.
Anyway, it's an old Japanese beer. Like I said, most sushi places will have it. I actually made my own sushi a few weeks ago for the first time. I tried rolling some sushi, and I went all in on my authentic night home, getting myself some Japanese beer to go with it. I'm drinking the last one here tonight, so it's good. You know, it's just like a little kind of a lager. You know, it's a good solid beer.
No, I've never had one. I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah. A little lager. There it is. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Recognize the label. Well, I don't have anything fancy. Just a normal groove call for me. I got a Rainier and a Rainier.
Sapporo's probably the Rainier of Japan. For all I know.
Bold statement. It's a bold statement.
Who says it's good? A lot of times, like, Americans associate a beer with a place. People from that place, like, oh, that beer is terrible. Like, what's that Australian one? Foster's. Yeah, it's Australian for beer. I'm pretty sure that people in Australia hate Foster's. But it came in, like, those big cans, which is pretty sweet in college.
Yeah. They look like mini cakes.
Yeah, they were like little. I think they might have had some that were like football themed. Or no, that was like Heineken or something. Someone did like a football shaped big can thing. The gimmicks to make Americans drink beer.
Yeah.
And I'm
the thing I remember about Foster's is their commercials.
That's really, well, that's what it is. Foster's Australian for beer, and a guy like slams it down and punches a kangaroo or something. I don't know.
Gets hit with a boomerang.
Let's get all the stereotypes we can, turn them into Crocodile Dundee, and then here we go. Sell some beer.
That's so good. All right. Well, Thorny, I think we should start with our boy, the golden boy, Troy Andersen. He's been making some news. Impressively, his legend continues to grow, even after his time at Montana State.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. The whole world, the whole NFL football world is kind of finding out about him and seeing him for the first time and watching him run at the combine. Like, holy cow, who's this kid? And it's pretty funny to read I read a lot of the articles and stuff on him, and they just don't really know about Montana State or Troy Andersen. I've heard so many times this week that he was recruited as a running back. Like, I don't think that's true. Like, he was recruited as an athlete with the primary assumption that he'd be on defense. I mean, I don't really know what he was recruited as, but he was definitely not recruited as a running back. He didn't play running back at all in high school. So it's just, the point is, like, it's just funny to see the prognosticators try and like give you a background of Troy Andersen, or like he played quarterback as a freshman. Like, they get everything wrong basically, but they get the gist of it. And that's the cool part. It's just cool that he's making all this national media attention, and, you know, it's painting a big light on the Bobcats in Montana State. And, you know, it's a really cool thing to see unfold.
He's a bit of a media darling right now for the NFL. What I'm seeing right now, Ryan, is some people are picking him in the second round, like maybe mid 40s. And so his stock just continues to rise. One thing I thought was, and I want your take on this, when he ran his 40 and became like the fastest linebacker in the draft,
the least surprising thing I saw.
Yeah. He made himself a lot of money in those 4.42 or 4.1 seconds, however you want to split there. But I think he made himself a lot of money in that moment.
No, I agree. Like, he's been just slowly creeping up the draft from like potential third, fourth round to securing probably a third round after the Senior Bowl. And now, after the Combine, the Major Bowls, we're talking possibly second round. It's pretty crazy. Was it Todd McShay called him like a day one starter in the NFL this week? I believe that was pretty cool to hear. Yeah, he definitely made himself some money for sure. And I'm not going to sit here and do all sunshine and rainbows. I mean, there is some hurdles for Troy Andersen to become a productive player in the NFL, but it's just, I still think he's going to go pretty high. I don't know if he'll be a day one superstar, but, you know, he has that huge upside and that potential, and I think teams will take him high just based on his upside.
I have a question for you, Thorny, a buy or sell question. Buy or sell, you will buy a Troy Andersen jersey.
I can't answer that yet. I can't. Like, if Troy Andersen becomes a Seahawk, I'm not sure I can buy a Seahawks jersey. And I know I live out here in Washington, north of Seattle, total Seahawk country. I'm a Rams fan. We're like mortal enemies, though. I don't know if I could do it. I'd be more likely to do it if he was even like a 49er. I could be more apt to that. But somehow at the Seahawks, I don't know, man. Or maybe that'll be the thing that finally turns him into a Seahawk fan. Possibly. So, I don't know. I can't say that. But
I think I'm going to.
But probably.
Yeah, I think I'm going to. And I think there's a little bit of a door opening for me. I purchased my first NFL jersey with my Joe Burrow purchase right before the Super Bowl. And it felt good. I was liking it. You know, running around, I felt proud. I mean, I'm a Bengals fan. That's cataloged. But yeah, I would rock a Troy Andersen jersey. Why not?
I used to be a jersey guy, but I haven't been in a while. But I think I should get myself a Cooper Kupp jersey. You have to really find that special player. I don't want to buy a jersey just to have a jersey of my team. It's got to be someone that you're like all-time fandom. if he retired tomorrow, he'd still be like one of your favorite players of all time. I have an Isaac Bruce jersey. I had a Kurt Warner jersey. I don't know what happened to it, but I still rocked the Isaac Bruce jersey for the Super Bowl. That old crumpled up, nasty looking jersey I have. It's about time to get myself a new one. So Cooper Kupp and maybe wherever Troy Andersen lands, maybe I'll get myself a Troy jersey. Why not?
Gosh, I waver on the Cooper Kupp thing. Like, I respect him as a player, but as a Bobcat fan, I just remember him terrorizing us.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had like, you know how I feel about the Eagles, right? But so Cooper Kupp, the Eagles, it's just,
but if he was doing that on the
like,
Bengals, though, you'd be on board.
Yeah, I would. But he was still an Eagle. It would always bug me just a little bit.
I'm telling you, I thought that way, but no. I have
no.
You got no ill will whatsoever. I don't care anything about his past before. I don't care about her past before we started dating. That's basically Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, man.
And me.
So I wore my Burrow jersey to work on that Friday before the Super Bowl, and I got so much flack over here in Spokane for wearing that jersey. So many teachers and workers in the school are like, no, take that off. What are you doing? Get yourself a Kupp jersey. They couldn't even fathom that I was rooting for the Bengals.
So that's got to be mixed feelings over there, though, because Cooper Kupp, Rams, again, rival to the Seahawks. So how can you be in Washington rooting for a Ram if you're a Seahawks fan? You're supposed to be a Seahawks fan out here.
Yeah. Well, at least in Eastern Washington, man. The ties to Eastern Washington and the Eagles and Kupp, they run deep over here.
All right. So Troy Andersen jerseys probably in our future. It might be hard to resist.
Yeah. Well, it makes tuning into the NFL draft something to look forward to, right?
Yeah, and I do have a question about Troy Andersen here, and I remember here at the last second, because it sounds like we're about to transition out of this. The last draft pick that I can remember of any note for the Bobcats was Joey Thomas, 2004. He was drafted in the third round at pick 70, number 70, by the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Buy or sell, or over and under, wherever you want to call it, is Troy going higher or lower than 70, which is pretty early in day 3, third round?
So would under mean he would be going under 70?
Yeah, I don't have to, like I said, we don't have to frame it in a game way. Is he going to be picked higher?
Yeah.
Or lower?
I think so. I think he's going to be a second round pick. I don't think he makes it out of Friday.
I think that's where I'm landing too. I think he's going to be in the low 60s, possibly in the 50s, but I think 70 is probably a pretty good number to shoot for. I am curious to see if he falls farther than people think. Everyone's fallen in love with him, but does that mean they're going to take a chance on a small school linebacker from Montana State that high when he could become available later on? That's the question. 70, I think he'll go before 70, though. I think 70 is going to be pushing it. Pretty exciting. Yeah. Pretty exciting times, though, to be a Bobcat fan. It's crazy to actually look back and remember that Joey Thomas went 70th. That's a pretty high pick.
I remember when he went into the draft and then he went to the Green Bay. I was at a game. I was at a basketball game, and I can't remember. I probably was a sophomore at this point, and he came back, and he was sitting in the stands, and he had like a little entourage around him. I was like, man, that's Joey Thomas. He's famous. He plays for the Green Bay Packers right now. I was kind of a little awestruck when I saw him.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, I just remember being excited as a Bobcat fan, and it's even 10 times now from a kid from like Dillon and a 4-year starter that was always a Bobcat. It's like his whole life. It's just cool. It's cool. It's really cool, and I'm happy for Troy Andersen. I'm happy for Bobcat fans and Bobcat Nation because it's just a feel-good thing on another continuation of like the really good couple years of Bobcat athletics.
It's been an amazing year for the Bobcat athletics.
Well, that's a perfect time to transition into basketball, right?
Whew. Thorny, we did a full season of basketball episodes last year when football was canceled.
And I felt like we got pretty decent at it eventually. It was rocky out of the gates, but we kind of got our flow. And And it was also kind of easy in a way. It was kind of hard and easy because that was COVID when you played the same team twice in a row. So every time we talked, we were like, we're recapping the Idaho games. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So if we would have tried this year, we would have had to try and remember two separate teams and two separate games all at the same time, which may have been trickier. But not as equipped to talk this year, but I have watched quite a bit of basketball. I'm just as invested as I always am. It's just harder to find the time, and we haven't been talking about it. But the men conference champions, outright champions. They locked that up early with the game left. How cool was that, man? How cool was it to see the Montana State Bobcats be the Big Sky Conference basketball champions? It's the first time since we were like sophomores in college, 2002.
Yeah, I don't even remember that. I think I was taking Montana State basketball for granted at that point. It is amazing. I mean, when you parlay it with football, men's basketball, and women's basketball, I think you texted me a stat earlier on today that says we are 35-3 at home in those sports this year.
That's right.
It really is the year of the cat if you start thinking about that. And I don't think there's any reason to think that this is going to slow down anytime soon for Montana State. I think this is just the beginning of, who knows, maybe decades of domination in the Big Sky for a lot of our sports. Just the way Bozeman's going, the way that the institutional momentum that Montana State has. I mean, I can really see that coming down the pipe.
Yep, absolutely. Binford's got it rolling. Sprinkle is getting it rolling. And Vegan, is Vegan the biggest question mark here? I don't know. But,
yeah.
I still think the tradition has been built enough in Montana State that I think will never be bad. I don't think. I think we're looking at minimum 7 wins a year, which is still pretty good. But it's gonna be a good time for Bobcat athletics for the near future. And just how cool is it, man? I'm just so excited to see the Bobcats win a conference championship because the football team has been so good as of late, but they haven't been able to get that conference banner. And it's a lot harder in football with the unbalanced schedule and all that because you don't even always play everybody. But it's cool to finally see a championship banner. I know the women have won it recently, right? Which is really cool. They took second this year, so they got the number 2 seed in the bracket. But just overall, man, super exciting year for Bobcat athletics. And, we just had to shout that out here before we started actually talking a little bit about the men's and women's brackets here in the games, upcoming games.
Another thing on the men quickly before we get into the women's stuff, because we'll bounce back to the men's. It was just really cool to see kind of a turn in how they rebounded after losses. I know for some many years watching the Bobcats, we would struggle in February. We didn't really struggle in February. And then when we would have a loss, we would always come back. We would have a good win, a good rebound win, a galvanizing win. Montana State finished 24-7. I can't remember the last time we had over 20 wins in the season. And that's really, hats off to Danny Sprinkle and coaching company and the players they recruited because it's a new team out there. Bobcat fans are excited about the team. It's clear when you watch the games. The crowds are electric, especially in the last week when we were going for cutting down the nets and everything. So really cool to see the Bobcats kind of form and forge a new identity underneath Sprinkle.
Yeah, they lost 2 games in a row one time this year. And that was way back the 3rd and the 4th game of the season when we lost to South Dakota State on the road and then at New Mexico.
Colorado? Oh, okay.
So like 2 pretty darn good mid-major programs, like historically good mid-major programs right there, New Mexico and South Dakota State. Yeah. So other than that,
I think South Dakota State has 28 wins this season. That's crazy.
That doesn't surprise me.
Dang, they're good. They're really good.
They always are. They've been really cooking. Them and North Dakota State, man, they always have it rolling. Yeah, 29-4. There you go. South Dakota State Jackrabbits, 29-4. North Dakota State right behind them at 23-9 in the Summit League. Pretty crazy. All right. Well, shall we talk a little bit about the women's bracket?
All right, man. Did we beat North Dakota State this year in basketball?
We did. Yeah, we did. We beat them kind of after conference play started. So there was this weird stretch when we were out of conference. Then we played Northern Colorado, Sac State. Then we played North Dakota State, St. Thomas, Portland again, and then some sort of SAGU AIC. I don't know, some sort of one of those Christian schools that have no business being brought in. But yeah, this weird little space where we played a few other teams after conference play started, and North Dakota State was one of them. We beat them 68-49. We crushed them.
Yeah, I remember that feeling satisfying.
Mm-hmm. It was. It was satisfying.
Yeah. All right. Well, the women's bracket, just to let listeners know, already started. Today's Monday when we were recording this. We'll probably have this out by, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday sometime.
Hoping to get
it
tomorrow.
A lot of the standings will go live as it gets released. But Montana State plays on Tuesday. And they play they're going to play Weber. That's already been decided. Weber is the number 10 seed. Montana State is the 2 seed. Yeah. So it didn't go chalk over there. So Weber upset the Sac State Hornets. They were the 7th seed, 74-64, which kind of surprised me. I was thinking Sac State would get that one, but who knows? Weber's been pretty bad in women's basketball.
Historically, yes.
For a long time.
They're actually middle of the road for the first time in like a long time.
Yeah. So that's Montana State game coming up tomorrow at 5:30. Well, tomorrow being Tuesday for us at this point. But yeah, Montana State got the 2 seeds, so we got the first round bye.
What do you think of our side of the bracket? So obviously we got Weber State. It would have been Sac State or Weber State, which I thought either one of those was an okay draw. We're on Southern Utah side, and then we got Idaho, who could be a real big dark horse. They just crushed Portland State, like absolutely annihilated them. So now we got number 3 Southern Utah, who's been on a bit of a slide, if I recall, going against Idaho at number 6. That's going to be a tough out for whoever wins that game. If the Bobcats are able to beat Weber State, it's going to be a tough quarterfinal game.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, we can't remiss to talk about Portland State 0-20. That's terrible. Yeah, I feel for those girls.
That's
I feel
bad.
For those.
No one deserves to lose every single game. I had a few of my like middle school or grade school era basketball teams I was on where we were 0-for. It's not a good place to be.
No. Hey, Ryan, do you have the women's stats in front of you right now? Montana State standings?
Yes. Well, you mean just the standings? Yes. We finished 19-12 overall, 14-6 in conference. We tied for second with Southern Utah. I don't know if we won the tiebreaker because obviously we're the number 2 seed, so we must have won some sort of tiebreaker, but we finished with the same conference record. The disappointing part about that is the Cats had a chance to take a share of the title because Idaho State lost, surprisingly, to like Sac State on their final game. So if the Cats would have been able to beat Northern Colorado, they would have tied for the conference championship, but they got beat fairly handily down in Greeley, although Northern Colorado was on a bit of a tear, the women's side. But regardless, still a great season for the Bobcats, and I think they could make a run in the tournament, but they've been lacking a little bit of that leadership, and the 3-point shooting that was so prevalent on the last year's team has really been kind of what's been hurting the Lady Cats this year.
Yeah, you're right on that. And Darian White, who's the star of the team, is not a great 3-point shooter, and she doesn't take a lot of 3-point shots. That's not her game. Her game is getting into the key, into the elbow, and taking that the 10-foot shot that she just it's almost synonymous with her. Mm-hmm. Hey, a question though. Did we lose to Southern Utah late in February? That's what I really wanted to know.
We lost to Southern. We beat Southern Utah handily the last time we played them, which was on February 19th. We beat them 65-47.
Okay.
They beat us before. So either way, we split with Weber State, and we split with Southern Utah, and Idaho. We swept Idaho, surprisingly.
Yeah, we had a big comeback against Idaho. We were down like large amount of points lately. I want to say the last game we played against Idaho, and then we had a really nice comeback against them. I did watch that game.
But Idaho's kind
I
of
think that was that 96-84 game.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, they came back and ended up winning by 12. So, I mean, it's a bracket where the Lady Cats have done okay. I probably like it better than the other side of the bracket. I don't want to be on Idaho State's side of the bracket. That's a really tough team. Northern Colorado is coming on tear, and then of course the Lady Grizz are always capable of doing something. So it's a better side of the bracket to be on. I think the Cats have a good chance to make it to the tournament or the championship game of the tournament. I really do. It just kind of depends on who shows up, and I mean, we can't play like we did against the season finale there with championship on the line and lose by like 9 or whatever. That's not going to get it done. You got to have more mental toughness and more heart and more hunger than that if you're going to win a conference championship. The good news is tournament time, teams can get hot, but it's also the time of the year where 3-point shooting, the teams that aren't reliant on 3-point shooting often have the best chance to win the tournament because that kind of shooting kind of goes cold in the playoff type situation. So the Cats do have a good chance if they can get their defense on track. That's really what it's going to come down to. I think if the Cats can play defense, they have a good chance to possibly go dancing or at least make it to the championship game.
Yeah. They've had success in Boise as well. I don't think that can be understated. With the men and you can throw the men in there too.
Yep.
Having success in Boise on that neutral court, you got to feel that. And both of our teams have. I like Trisha Binford right now. I like what she brings to the table, just the experience down there. Have a good feeling about the Cats at least getting to the championship game on Friday.
I agree. Good chance. So anything else you want to say about the women? Been a really good year for them, and here's hoping to keep it going.
Yeah, go Cats.
Go Cats, that's right. Are you holding it up for me to read? Or you okay, you're flipping your pages around for yourself. You blocked the camera. I was like, am I supposed to be trying to read this through the blurry camera? All right, let's talk.
I am analog. You know me. I like paper stuff.
I know, but sometimes you also hold things up for me to read. So I was trying to discern if that was for me or not. Moving over to the men's side. Okay, Cats, number 1 seed. First time since probably 2002. Pretty crazy. We got the winner of Sac State and Idaho, the 8 and 9 seed. They're playing on Wednesday at 9:30 in the morning. The Cats will play on Thursday at noon against the winner of that game. On the other side of our side of the bracket, we have number 4 Weber State versus the Grizz at number 5, and that game is later as one's after our game. So Friday, March 11th, if we're able to win, we would play the winner of Weber State or the Grizz for a chance to go to the championship game on Saturday. I actually like our side of the bracket better than the other side because the other side you have Southern Utah and Eastern Washington and Northern Colorado. And those are 3 teams that I think any one of those 3 teams could actually get hot and make a run all the way to the championship game. I think looking at our side, I think we are the clear favorite. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to win, but I think we have the better path to the championship as it kind of should be, if you're the number 1 seed. It's kind of how it's supposed to work out. What are your thoughts on just the bracket at large?
I do not like to match up against Weber or Montana. I mean, those are the traditional powers in the Big Sky for the men. Yeah. But, I mean, at some point, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And if Montana State's going in with the number 1 seeding, it's time for us to just embrace that and be the bully in this tournament and not just hope to win, right? I mean, I think last year when we got hot, we beat Southern Utah to get into the championship game against the Eagles. I can't remember who we played against before Southern Utah, but every win just felt like a bonus on the season.
Right.
Because we hadn't won much. And so it's just like, oh my gosh, we won again. Oh man, we won again. And then we got into there with Eastern and we held a little bit, but Eastern really just kind of, I mean, it wasn't a contest on that championship game. We let some things slip through our fingers there. So now we have the bullseye on our back. Now we are the top team, and that feels a little bit different. So I'm wondering how Montana State is really going to handle that. I really do.
That almost is the biggest question for me is how can the Bobcats handle being the favorite? It's not easy to win the conference championship, but it's even harder to win it and then go in there and then go all the way to the national, or not the, I keep saying national championship, so I'm used to football discussion here. Go all the way to the conference championship. And you had a good question, and you were wondering what the statistics are of the number one seed actually winning the tournament. I don't know that stat. I wish we knew that stat. But for the Cats to be able to continue this run, they have all the tools. It's going to be mental, I think. And I think the leadership of having the 3 COVID super seniors back, Danny Sprinkle kind of just getting his footing as a head coach, really making good adjustments and making good lineup changes. I like what he's done, mixing up the lineup a little bit here in the last week or two of the season. I like what he's done there. I think those factors can really contribute to the Bobcats making the run.
Yeah. Assuming we win on Thursday, we go into Friday against either Montana or Weber. If we bury Weber or Montana, I'm feeling really good as a Cat fan.
Sure.
Because those two are big ifs. And another team I kind of want to bury if we get the chance, but kind of want to avoid is Eastern. I think Eastern's a bad matchup for us.
They're
Eastern,
a bad matchup for us. That is true.
They are a sneaky good team. They can light it up. They have a really fun offense that I tend to watch a lot of Eastern games over here in Eastern Washington. Go figure, right? They press the ball really well. They play a different pace than Montana State. They like to play faster than we do. We like to slow the game down. We bring it up slow. Eastern, as soon as we make a bucket, they come out charging and they force you into transition. And they got a couple shooters, as they always do. So I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, Ryan, if we would get to Saturday and it's championship Saturday and it's a rematch of last year, Montana State versus Eastern. And if that would be the truth, hats off to Eastern because they have 12 new players in the program and they would have gotten there. So, I mean, I'm making a big jump right now. Eastern could lose first round to Northern Arizona.
They very well could.
They have like these spells of greatness, but they also have these spells of like, what are you doing? Like Venters will go on some sort of dry streak and whatever happens, right? But yeah, Eastern kind of scares me.
And NAU is all about that Cole guy, right?
Yeah,
I forget his first name.
Point guard.
I want to say Jalen Cole, but that's because of the Bobcat player. I don't remember his first name. Jackson Cole, maybe? I don't remember what it is. But yeah, if he can get hot, man, NAU can beat almost anybody because that guy can drop 40 real quick.
Yeah.
All right, so that's...
Who do you want to avoid?
Who do I want to avoid completely?
Yeah.
That's a tough question. I want to say my first thought is the Grizz. Only because I could not handle losing that game. It's not because I think they're a bad matchup. I think that they beat us in Missoula. I don't think that would happen 9 times out of 10, at least in the manner that it did, absolutely. I just don't want to have the best season in the last 20 years in Bozeman come to ended at the hands of the Grizz. I don't know if I could handle that.
That was a weird game.
It was a weird game.
The
Cats were just like in quicksand the whole game. Yeah, one for 7 from 3-point line, or was it 0?
Like 11 threes or something?
It was bad.
Gosh. Yeah, it's terrible.
We did make a run at it.
Montana,
the whole game I was just like, if we don't even make a run at this, I'm gonna be pissed. But at least we did cut it within like 3 or something in the last couple minutes of the game. So we made a little run at it, but still, that's just a flush and forget it game. And like you said, the Cats respond to the loss like they haven't in previous years, and that's what has been special about this team. Who do you want to avoid? Is it Eastern?
Oh, number one for me would be Eastern. Yeah, I just think they have our number. They have some sort of weird devil magic against us in basketball, which is just weird. Montana, honestly, and this is not just me being a Cat fan, because like all Cat fan sides, they're just a really average team. They're a really average 5 team. They have not been playing really well right now. Their offense is pretty bad in my estimation. They play really good defense. It would be a shame if Montana went through this tournament and came out the championship, because if they got to the NCAA tournament, they're just going to get waxed, and it's just a bad showing for the Big Sky. They just don't really have a good offense, and so I don't know.
Well, they hit
I
13
hope Weber
three-pointers
State
against
takes
us.
care of them. Yeah, no, I know, but it was in Missoula, and
Yeah.
they were inspired. They wanted some revenge from getting the loss earlier, and it seems like they put all the marbles in that game, and we just shot really crappy. I mean, good credit for them. They probably had a good defensive game against us. I wasn't able to watch it because it was on ESPNU. I don't get that on my package, so I wasn't able to watch the game. Were you?
Yeah, watched it. And they play good defense. They played good perimeter defense. We had some open looks though. It was just a straight bad shooting performance. That was Tyler Patterson, and the start of his slump or the continuation of his slump. It was just like, yeah, that was kind of where things just continued or started poorly for the Cats from downtown, and the Grizz just got hot. They took like 30-some three-pointers, made 13 of them, shot like 34, 35%. 13 three-pointers versus one. That's two or whatever it was. It's 30 more points. Right there. I mean, that's game.
Yeah.
Ball game. They're not going to do that again. The Grizz will not hit 13 points against us ever again. Not with the current lineup they have.
Yeah.
That was just...
And we still almost won that game.
We did. We came back.
We were
but it was a weird defensive game plan, man. They were open. Like all the Grizz three-pointers were like wide open. I don't know what they were doing that was confusing us so bad, but we were just not in position, and they just had wide open looks, and they knocked them down. That's where the game was lost. But that won't happen again, and I don't think that'll happen again. So I just don't want the pressure of a postseason Cat Grizz game. Is what it comes down to. If I'm looking at the rest of the bracket, honestly, nobody really scares me. I mean, Eastern Washington is a bad matchup, but I still think we can beat them especially in the postseason. Yeah. We just Northern Colorado was one of the teams that beat us in the regular season, but we just beat them with like Bello not even playing, Xavier Bishop playing limited minutes and then actually not even playing in the second half, and we still beat them with like Nick Gonzalez going off and a whole bunch of like Borja Fernandez got some time for the first time in forever. Patrick McMahon, I don't remember exactly how is it the guy from Alaska who's going to be a really good player. I haven't even paid too much attention to him because he's hardly even played. He looks pretty good. So he got some minutes. The Cats went deep into their bench. We're missing some starters and still beat Northern Colorado, who I believe had just crushed the Grizz a couple days before. And it's kind of good practice. Like the Cats played 4 games in like 7 days there, so that's kind of a good preview, like a good taste of what's going to happen here in the tournament. And they were able to do all that. So no one else really scared me. We beat Southern Utah twice. Weber State's on a complete spiral right now. They can get it right. They can get the ship right, but they're really struggling. They've lost like 7 of the last 9 or 7 of the last 10 or some stat like that. Yeah, I guess the Grizz is who I'd like to play the least, just for the reasons I've mentioned. Ugh.
Hey, Thorny, if it goes chalk to Friday, who are you taking in the Southern Utah versus Northern Colorado game?
Southern Utah.
Really?
I think Southern Utah is built for the tournament a little bit more than Northern Colorado. Southern Utah's a bad matchup for a lot of teams, but for whatever reason this year, we've had their number. But I think Southern Utah, when they get it going, they're really hard to stop.
Yeah. What about on our side of the bracket? I want to talk about Weber State a little bit. I don't think Weber State's interested in playing defense. I think they're just interested in shooting the ball from wherever.
I've paid the least amount of attention to Weber State this year than I have any other year. I don't even know what their style is or what the problem is.
So you think Montana's going to take it to them?
Now that I don't know. I actually, when I was looking at this, and I'm not entirely sure who I'd pick in this game. Both teams are capable of just laying eggs. It's almost going to be who stinks the least in this game. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I'm not saying both teams are bad. I'm just saying it's going to be an ugly game. It's another Randy Ray versus Travis DeCure slugfest. And for some reason, I just think Weber State might be able to kind of that monkey off their back that the Grizz have been in the postseason for them in the last decade, really. I'm thinking Weber State can pull that off.
Yeah, here's a thought on that game is those two teams really do not like each other. And they are going to slug. They're going to slug it out on Thursday. And if Montana State can hold on against either Sac State or Idaho, we become the benefactor of their physical game on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then we will just be chomping at the bit to take it to whoever's in front of us at that point.
Yeah, neither Sac State or Idaho are particularly physical. So whoever we end up playing is not going to be a slugfest.
You know, if Idaho wins, and they could, they're going to rely on their guards who can score. Like they can carry the night for them for sure. Sac State's pesky. They're kind of like Portland State to me. They never go away. They just kind of they eke it out a little bit here and there. They make it harder than you want it to be. On that matchup, I think I don't want to play Sac State. I'd rather play Idaho.
When we just beat Sac State, I felt like we were dominating the game, and then Sac State would come down and like hit a 3-pointer, and I'd look up and it was like a 4-point game, and it's like it never got bad. I'm like, I feel like we're beating them badly, but the score is not reflecting this. It was a weird game. And I think Zach Mackey said something like the last 3 or 4 games before that game were determined by like 3 points or less against Sac State. Like for whatever reason, we play Sac State tough or they play us tough. So I would much rather play Idaho, even though they can get hot. They don't get hot that often, and we beat them twice, once by 20, and then the second, and that was in Idaho. And the other time we were able to win 6 at home. But I just think I'd rather play Idaho.
Yeah. Well, a little parting thought for me on Montana State right now is the reason why our super seniors came back was because of this experience last year and what they think they can get. I think Montana State has a legitimate chance of going to the NCAA tournament. What a year, right? If that would happen, to take the number 1 seed, to win the conference championship and then win the conference tournament would be amazing. I remember being in 7th grade watching this happen the last time and seeing Danny Sprinkle hit those shots and, living that. Not even a huge Cat fan back then, but that's been a long time, buddy.
It has. I really, really want to see that so badly, and I'm so tempted to make my way to Boise if the Cats are able to advance to the championship game to find a way to go to the game. Like that's just how important and like meaningful it would be to me. Look at obviously it comes around once in every blue moon, so I'd really like to be there for that. But yeah, what a cap to a crazy year of athletics in Montana State that would be, and I think the Cats have a good chance to do it on the men's side in particular, but also on the women's side. So go Cats, man. Just go Cats. I'm excited.
Absolutely. All right, Thorny, is there anything else you want to say about this conference tourney?
No, I don't know if we want to do the pick 'em or not. I think at this point we probably scrap that. I think we've done a nice little episode here without bogging it down in our 10 minutes of us picking if Idaho State's going to be Portland State. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that offline, or maybe do like a little challenge or something somewhere on social media. We'll do that later. But I'm hoping to get this released here tomorrow before the tournament starts, before the Cats play at the very least. And anything else you want to say about the tournaments here? Troy Andersen, anything else popping around that noggin?
I'm excited to be a Cat fan. Always have been, always will be.
Very well stated. All right, well, let's get out of here. Thanks again for listening. First episode in a while. Felt good to get back on the mic and talk a little bit about Cat athletics. Thanks again to Jeremiah Johnson for being our sponsor. You can always find us on Twitter, RRCatcast. You can find us on the web, rrcatcast.com. You can find us on Instagram. I'm going to throw that out there this time because you've been killing it with the Instagram game lately. I don't even know what our handle is. I assume it's RRCatcast there as well. Yeah, when I set all this up initially, I was pretty consistent with their branding. And to that point, we are rrcatcast@gmail.com if you want to email us, if you don't do that whole social media thing. And fully, let's get out of here with the Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.